Peppa Goes Around the World. It was almost the start of the summer holidays. Peppa was playing in the garden with her friends.
What are you doing over the holidays?
Asked Wendy Wolf.
I'm going to the park,
replied Peppa. Peppa was very excited. She was going to spend the holidays jumping in lots of muddy puddles. Peppa's friends were going on holiday all around the world.
I'm going to the jungle,
said Pedro Pony.
We're going to the desert,
said Emily and Edmund Elephant.
And I'm going to the mountains,
barked Danny Dog.
What about you, Susie?
asked Peppa.
I'm off to the South Pole to play with the penguins.
Susie Sheep grinned. On the first day of the holidays, Peppa and George climbed into the car. Time to go to the park, said Mummy Pig. Let's go, cheered Daddy Pig. The little car chugged along the road. The engine went chugga chugga chugga, bang clank bonk. Oh dear, groaned Daddy Pig. The car has broken down. Mummy Pig called for help. Please come quick, she said. This is an emergency.
Look,
gasped Peppa.
Here comes Miss Rabbit's emergency breakdown service.
That was quick, said Mummy Pig. Miss Rabbit said it would take her all day to put things right.
But we want to go to the park,
cried Peppa. Don't worry, replied Miss Rabbit. While I fix your car, you can borrow my aeroplane.
Airplane,
George shouted. Everybody climbed into Miss Rabbit's aeroplane. Mummy Pig took the controls. This is fun, she said. Are we supposed to be flying upside down? Wondered Daddy Pig.
The ground is in the sky and the sky is on the ground,
giggled Peppa.
Meow.
It didn't take long for Mummy Pig to get the hang of the airplane flying. Next stop, the park, said Daddy Pig.
To jump in muddy puddles,
cried Peppa. Daddy Pig opened out his map.
Are we lost as usual?
asked Peppa. We are not lost, snorted Daddy Pig. I can see some trees. That must be the park.
Where are the swings and roundabouts?
asked Peppa. Said Daddy Pig. This looks more like a jungle than a park. Peppa gasped. Pedro was on holiday in the jungle. Mummy Pig pulled the handbrake and the plane fell through the trees, landing on the ground with a bump. Here was Pedro.
Hello, Pedro,
called Peppa.
Are you having a nice holiday?
Pedro nodded.
It's brilliant. There are parrots and monkeys and everything.
The jungle was fun, but there were no muddy puddles to jump in.
Can we visit my other friends on their holidays around the world?
asked Peppa. I don't see why not, said Mummy Pig. It was Daddy Pig's turn to fly the aeroplane. Where next? he said.
The mountains, said Peppa. That's where Danny Dog is.
Danny Dog was enjoying his mountain holiday. The best bit about climbing a mountain is that you're all alone, explained Captain Dog. There's no one else around. Daddy Pig landed the aeroplane at the top of the mountain, right in front of Danny and Captain Dog.
Hello, Danny,
shouted Peppa.
We're flying around the world to see my friends. This mountain is very high.
Peppa and her family said goodbye to Danny and Captain Dog and flew away again. Soon, Daddy Pig spotted lots of yellow sand in the distance. It must be the desert, he said.
That's where Emily and Edmund are on holiday,
cried Peppa. It wasn't easy to land an aeroplane in the desert.
We've sunk into the ground,
said Mummy Pig. Why do they have to fill the desert with so much sand? Cried Daddy Pig.
Hello, Emily,
shouted Peppa.
Hello, Edmund.
We've been studying a rare lizard, whispered Edmund. But it must be shy because it's run away. It had a scaly back and a long red tongue, added Emily. Yuck, said Mummy Pig. Lucky it ran off then. The lizard suddenly appeared on a rock. There it is, shouted Daddy Pig, frightening it away again. Didn't you say you had other people to visit? Sighed Dr. Elephant.
Yes,
said Peppa.
We still got to go and see Susie at the South Pole. Goodbye, everybody.
Susie was having a great holiday, but she did miss Peppa.
I wish Peppa was here,
Susie sighed. Peppa's aeroplane landed on the snow and ice.
Peppa!
cried Susie.
Susie!
cried Peppa. Peppa and Susie were best friends. They were very pleased to see each other again. Peppa had lots of fun with Susie and the penguins. But they couldn't play all day. Peppa still had to go to the park. Miss Rabbit should have fixed our car by now, said Mummy Pig. The aeroplane flew all the way back around the world.
Hello, Miss Rabbit,
said Peppa.
We've flown all around the world.
Good thing I remembered to fill the airplane's tank up with petrol this morning, said Miss Rabbit.
Your little car is working again,
said Miss Rabbit. Hooray! Peppa and George climbed inside.
Flying around the world was nice,
decided Peppa,
but something was missing. A muddy puddle!
Peppa and George loved jumping up and down in muddy puddles. Everyone loves jumping up and down in muddy puddles. The end. Peppa's Big Day Out. Potato City, here we come. Peppa's Big Day Out. Join Peppa and her friends on their brilliant adventure at Potato City. Peppa is visiting a theme park called Potato City.
Wow!
2 adults and 2 children, please, says Mummy Pig. Miss Rabbit prints out the tickets. There's so much to do in Potato City, she says. Have a lovely day. Peppa's friends have come to visit too. Susie Sheep is pretending to be a tomato. Busy, isn't it? Gulps Daddy Pig.
It's fantastic,
says Peppa. Just then, everybody gasped. Mr. Potato has arrived.
Welcome to Potato City,
he cries,
where the magic of vegetables never ends. Hooray!
cheer Peppa and her friends. Mr. Potato takes the children to the dinosaur garden. Susie is confused.
Why have you got dinosaurs in Potato City?
Mr. Potato frowns.
Because dinosaurs like eating potatoes?
Susie shakes her head. It's because children like dinosaurs.
Roll up for the vegetable roundabout swing thing,
calls Mr. Potato. Everybody loves the vegetable roundabout swing thing. Peppa and her friends jump on and ride it again and again and again.
I like Potato City because it teaches you about vegetables,
cries Peppa,
and swings you round and round.
But there is still one ride that Peppa hasn't been on yet. The Potato Rocket. Peppa and her friends climb into the carriages. George wants to go on too. Daddy Pig isn't sure. The Potato Rocket looks very high. Oh, okay, Daddy Pig snorts. Make it quick. George changes his mind and gets off, but it's too late for Daddy Pig.
I love the Potato Rocket,
shouts Susie.
I love Potato City,
shouts Peppa.
Hooray!
Everyone shouts together. The end. Peppa goes to hospital.
Today we are going to visit Pedro Pony in hospital, Madame Gazelle tells the class. Pedro's leg is broken and the doctors are mending it. Peppa has never been to the hospital before. Except when I was born, of course, Peppa says. I'm wearing my nurse's outfit, Susie Sheep says, because hospitals are very serious.
But when the class arrives on the children's ward, the walls are full of colour.
Ooh,
they all say as they set off to find Pedro. Pedro is in bed with his leg in a plaster cast.
Does it hurt?
Zoe Zebra asks.
It did at first, Pedro says, but not anymore. Do you want to draw on it? What's it like being in hospital?
asks Peppa.
It's great, replies Pedro. Nurse gives me stickers and comes whenever I press this button.
Another nurse comes over with a trolley. Lunchtime, she says.
Spaghetti and sponge pudding, please, says Pedro. Wow, you get to eat in bed, gasps Peppa.
Dr. Brown Bear visits Pedro. You're nearly better and ready to go home. The bell rings. Visiting time has ended.
Get well soon,
wave the children. A few days later, Pedro is back.
Where is your plaster cast?
asks his friends.
My leg is all better. It's It's a super leg now, Pedro says. Thank you for visiting me in hospital. The end.
Peppa Pig, the fancy dress party. Peppa and George are having a fancy dress party. All their friends are invited. Peppa is dressed as a fairy princess and George is a dinosaur. All the guests are arriving. Rebecca Rabbit is dressed as a carrot and Susie Sheep has come as a nurse. "Hello, Susie," says Daddy Pig. "Have you just come from the hospital?" "I'm not a real nurse," says Susie Sheep. "It's just pretend." "Hello, Susie," says Peppa. "I'm Princess Peppa. You must bow when you speak to me." Susie Sheep bows. "Woof, woof. I'm a pirate. Shiver me timbers," says Danny Dog. "I'm a clown," says Pedro, tooting his horn. "Rebecca, why are you dressed as a carrot?" Danny asks. "Because I like carrots," says Rebecca. George does his best dinosaur roar and scares everybody. Peppa is playing by herself. She pretends the mirror is magic. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" "You are, Peppa," she giggles. It's time to judge the fancy dress competition. As it's Peppa's party, says Daddy Pig, she can be the judge and decide who has the best costume. The guests show off their outfits. "I'm a pirate, shiver me timbers," says Danny Dog. "I'm a nurse who makes people better," says Susie Sheep. Candy Cat waves her wand at Peppa. "I'm a witch and I can turn you into a frog," she says. "Meow." "Well, I'm a fairy princess and I can turn you into a frog," cries Peppa. It is time to announce the winner. "Everyone's costume is very good," says Peppa, "but the winner is me." "Peppa, you can't pick yourself. You're the judge," whispers Mummy Pig. "Oh, can't I?" asks Peppa. "You have to pick another winner," Mummy Pig says quietly. "Okay, the carrot wins," says Peppa. Hooray! Rebecca Rabbit has won the fancy dress competition. "Thank you," Rebecca says. Peppa loves fancy dress parties. Everyone loves fancy dress parties. The end. Peppa's best birthday party. It was Mandy Mouse's birthday, and she was having her party at Cheese World.
Wow!
"What is Cheese World, Mandy?" asked Peppa.
It's the most fun place ever.
replied Mandy.
There's a cheese river and a cheese mountain, and best of all, there's a cheese castle.
Wow! Everyone gasped. When they arrived for the party, Mummy Mouse took Mandy and her friends to a huge cheese-shaped arch. "Welcome to Cheese World," announced Miss Rabbit. "Have any of you been here before?"
I have.
cried Mandy.
It's amazing. Wow!
"Oh, hello, Mandy," said Miss Rabbit. "Nice to see you again." Everyone followed Miss Rabbit past some cheese trees and cheese bushes. "So," said Miss Rabbit, "everything at Cheese World is about
Cheese!
cheered Mandy.
That's right.
Said Miss Rabbit.
And we'll start by sailing on the river of cheese.
Mandy cheered again. When they got to the cheese river, 2 little cheese boats were waiting.
All aboard.
Called Mandy. And hold tight, added Miss Rabbit, as the boats bobbed along.
Miss Rabbit,
Said Peppa.
are these boats made of real cheese?
No, Peppa, replied Miss Rabbit.
They are made from pretend cheese.
Oh, said Peppa.
We are now entering Cheese Mountain.
Said Miss Rabbit as they sailed inside a cave.
Is it made of real cheese?
Asked Peppa.
No,
Replied Miss Rabbit.
but this is what it would be like to sail through a cheese mountain.
Wow!
Ooh! Cried Mandy and her friends.
If cheese mountains existed.
Finished Miss Rabbit. After the boat ride, Mr. Rabbit showed the group his cheese aeroplane ride. Mandy explained what to do.
If you pull the lever, the plane goes up.
She said,
And if you push the lever, the plane goes down.
once the children were safely in their airplanes, Mr. Rabbit started the ride. Up, up and away, he cried,
This is brilliant.
said Molly Mole.
Look, there's a sun made of cheese.
Mandy called,
And the clouds are cottage cheese.
gasped Susie,
I can see the whole world.
said Peppa.
It's all cheese.
Was that fun? asked Mummy Mouse once the children finished flying.
Yes!
Everyone cheered happily,
I told you Cheese World is the most fun place ever.
cried Mandy. Next, it was time to visit the Castle of Cheese. Hello, Mandy, said Grampy Rabbit when they arrived at the entrance. Have you told your friends about my Castle of Cheese?
I told them it was the best bit,
said Mandy. It is, said Grampy Rabbit. It's where we get to smell real cheese. No pretend cheese here. Once they were inside, Grampy Rabbit said, Let's start by smelling a mild cheese. Molly and Pedro Pony both took a good sniff. Said Molly.
This smells nice. I like it too,
said Pedro. Grampy Rabbit sniffed the cheese, but he didn't think it had any smell at all. Now for something a little bit stronger, said Grampy Rabbit, taking the cover off a second piece of cheese. He took a big sniff. That's more like it, he said. A stinky one. Pedro sniffed the cheese. He cried.
It smells like my daddy's socks.
And now, said Grampy Rabbit, it's time for the strongest cheese in the whole world. Grampy Rabbit carefully lifted the cover off the third cheese and took a huge sniff. Now that's what I call cheese, he said. Next it was Mandy's turn to smell the super strong cheese.
It's the nicest smell I've ever smelled,
She said. You love smelling cheese, don't you, Mandy? Said Mummy Mouse.
Yes,
Cried Mandy.
but I love eating it even more.
Funny you should say that, said Mummy Mouse. Mummy Mouse brought out a cake covered in candles.
Wow!
It's birthday cake time, she said.
Cheesecake!
Gasped Mandy.
My favourite!
Hooray! Everyone cheered.
This is the best birthday ever,
Cried Mandy,
and this is the best birthday party ever,
said Peppa.
Happy birthday, Mandy.
The end. Peppa's Pizza Party. It is lunchtime at Peppa's house.
Can we make pizzas?
Peppa asks. George loves pizza. So do Mummy and Daddy Pig. Peppa is excited to start. But first, everyone must wash their hands. They use soap and water to get all clean. When they are done washing, they gather ingredients. To make our pizzas, says Daddy Pig, we need flour, tomato, chimes in Mummy Pig, cheese, continues Daddy Pig, and toppings. But wait, there's something missing.
George likes pineapple on his pizza,
Peppa says. Pineapple? Daddy Pig repeats. On pizza? I think that's against the law. Peppa laughs. Daddy Pig is being silly. It is not against the law to put pineapple on pizza. Mummy Pig sprinkles a little flour on the table so that the dough doesn't stick. Then, with their clean hands, Peppa and George knead the dough. Bam, bam, bam!
I am big and strong,
Peppa says.
and George is big and strong too.
Next, they make the dough into 4 balls. These will become 4 pizza pies. Mummy Pig rolls the dough balls flat with her rolling pin.
Oh,
Says Peppa.
they look like pizzas now.
Mummy and Daddy Pig make a sauce with the tomatoes. Then Peppa and George smooth it over the dough.
I like making pizza.
Peppa says.
It's so fun.
Now it is time to decorate the pizzas.
Can we make happy faces on top?
Peppa asked. Of course we can, replies Daddy Pig. I'll use mushrooms to make eyes and olives for the smile. And I'll use onions for the eyes and basil for the smile, says Mummy Pig. Peppa uses sweet corn for the smile and little tomatoes for the eyes. George has pineapple for the eyes and cheese for the smile. Mummy Pig puts on her oven mitts. Then she places the pizzas in the oven to bake. When the pizzas are done, Peppa, George, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig eat in the garden. Their pizzas are very good.
These are the best pizzas in the world,
says Peppa. Peppa loves pizza. Everyone loves pizza. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Pumpkin Party. It is a lovely autumn day, and Peppa and George are getting ready for their Halloween party. First, they scoop out a pumpkin to make a lantern. Then Mummy Pig fixes a candle inside and lights it.
Ooh, lovely,
sighs Peppa. Mummy and Daddy Pig help Peppa and George put on their costumes. Peppa is a witch and George is a dinosaur. Peppa cackles. Very witchy, says Mummy Pig.
Dinosaur!
Growls George. Peppa and George's friends have arrived. Everyone is wearing a spooky Halloween costume. Suddenly, they hear a howl.
Oh! What was that? Asked Peppa. Only me, laughs Danny Dog. I'm a werewolf.
Peppa notices that Emily Elephant has a green face.
What are you, Emily? She asks.
I'm an alien. Blub, blub, blub.
She replies, laughing.
And Edmund is a ghost.
Actually, I'm a paranormal apparition,
Corrects Edmund.
That's a clever clog's ghost.
Daddy Pig appears at the door. Welcome to the party, everyone, he booms. Come and have some pumpkin pie. Inside, the house is decorated with balloons, cobwebs, and hanging toy bats. Even Madame Gazelle has come to the Halloween party.
Hello, says Susie Sheep. I've come as a vampire.
A vampire, sighs Madame Gazelle. That reminds me of home. How strange. Madame Gazelle doesn't seem to have a reflection in the mirror. Daddy Pig puts on some music for everyone to dance to.
I love pumpkin parties,
Peppa shouts.
I love dressing up,
Says Susie Sheep. And everyone loves pumpkin pie, says Daddy Pig. The end. Peppa Pig and the Lost Christmas List. It is almost Christmas, and Peppa Pig and her little brother George are mailing their letters to Santa. Peppa's friends are there too.
What are you asking for?
Asks Peppa.
I'd like a scooter,
Says Susie.
I've asked Santa for a toy spaceship,
Says Danny.
a toy mouse for me, please.
Says Emily. Rebecca wants a trumpet. Zoe has asked Santa for a ball and paddle toy. And Candy is hoping for a jump rope. Pedro would like a guitar. The next day, Mammy and Daddy Pig, Peppa and George go to Miss Rabbit's farm to find the perfect Christmas tree. They look at little ones. Bigger, says Daddy Pig. They look at medium-sized ones. Bigger, says Daddy Pig. They look at the biggest tree at the farm. Perfect, says Daddy Pig. The tree is very big. Daddy Pig's car is quite small. No worries, I'll carry it home, he says. Peppa, George and Mummy Pig wait a very long time for Daddy Pig. Finally they see him coming slowly up the hill. Daddy Pig needs a rest. It's time to decorate. Mummy Pig puts the lights on first. Peppa adds the garland. George hangs some Christmas ornaments. Then Daddy Pig reaches way up high to put a star on the top.
The tree is beautiful.
Peppa sings a Christmas tree song.
Little star on the Christmas tree, twinkle, 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 twinkle. All the little piggies on Christmas Eve go oink, 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 oink. Daddy,
Asked Peppa.
why does Santa come down the chimney? Why doesn't he just use the front door?
Good question, Peppa. If you see him, you should ask. But Santa won't come unless you're asleep. So up to bed you go.
George, let's stay awake all night and see Santa.
Peppa says. But George is fast asleep.
Well, I'm going to stay awake by myself.
Soon, Peppa is fast asleep too. Ho, 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 ho. It's windy up here. Santa checks his list and then squeezes down the chimney. It's a tight fit. Santa is surprised to see two little pigs.
It's me, Peppa. This is my little brother, George.
I am very pleased to meet you, says Santa.
Are those our presents?
Asked Peppa. They might be, but you'll have to wait until morning to find out.
Santa, how do you know what presents to give everyone?
Asked Peppa. Well, I have a list. It's right here. Oh, it was right here. Oh dear, what has happened to my list? I've lost it. How will I know who gets which presents?
I can help,
Says Peppa.
Danny wants a toy spaceship. Emily wants a toy mouse. A scooter, please, for Susie. Rebecca would like a trumpet. Candy wants a jump rope. Zoe asked for a ball and paddle toy. And Pedro would like a guitar.
Thank you, Peppa Pig, says Santa. You remembered everything on the lost Christmas list. You've saved the day. I must hurry now. Santa looks up the chimney. I guess I'll have to squeeze up there again.
Why don't you use the front door?
Asked Peppa. By golly, what a good idea. On Christmas morning, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig wake Peppa and George.
Daddy, Mummy, we saw Santa,
Says Peppa.
and look, he left us presents.
George has a toy train. Peppa has a yo-yo. Peppa's friends arrive. They got presents they asked for too. Merry Christmas! Ho, 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 ho! The end. Peppa Pig, Stomp and Roar. Miss Rabbit is taking everyone on a day out. We're here, she calls as she stops the bus. Welcome to Grampy Rabbit's Dinosaur Park, booms Grampy Rabbit. But real dinosaurs
Died out 65 million years ago.
says Edmund Elephant. Yes, so we've got singing dinosaurs, says Grampy Rabbit proudly.
They're a bit small,
says Peppa. Well, we've got a real whopper of a dinosaur too, adds Grampy Rabbit. Come on, let's follow its footprints. Grampy Rabbit leads them to an enormous dinosaur slide. Whee! Cries Peppa. Are you ready for even more adventure? Asks Grampy Rabbit. Yes, everyone shouts. Now we have to find a giant dinosaur egg, says Grampy Rabbit. Freddy Fox quickly tracks it down with his excellent sense of smell.
Is it real?
Asked Peppa. It's better than real. It's pretend, replies Grampy Rabbit. At the end of the day, Grampy Rabbit asks everyone to sing a special song. Copy me, he shouts. Do the stomp, do the dinosaur stomp, do the roar, do the dinosaur roar. Stomp, 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 roar, roar, roar. Grampy Rabbit's Dinosaur Park has been the best day out ever. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.